Welcome back to Zotplay's second podcast. Today we will discuss what happened on the Hautacam stage, the first real modern stage of this Tour de France, which is again stage 12 already.
Yeah, it was pretty late into the race, and the stage started off a bit chaotic, I would say. There was like a really big breakaway that rolled off the front. I think it was like 40 riders almost, maybe even
50,
more.
52 I
Yeah,
think in
50
the end.
maybe even. I don't think they really like attacked. It was just a split in a peloton, and it's just kind of how the whole group ended up in front. And I would say the most interesting riders in there were for the GC Rodriguez, Carlos Rodriguez, Martin. Guillaume Martin, Ben O'Connor, maybe Skjelmose, and then maybe also interesting for the GC fight were the satellites, which were Wellens for UAE,
And Tish Benoot
Benoit,
for Visma.
Benoit for Visma, and Schachmann for Quickstep as well. But yeah, but you would expect that they get a big gap, but with such a strong group, but the peloton and the peloton was just going very very hard the whole day, so. They didn't really get away at all. UE held pace a bit at the start, and Uno X especially took over because I think they were worried about Carlos Rodriguez against Johannesson in the GC, which a bunch of people criticized that. I think it's perfectly fine. Well, is our Uno X going to ride for in this race, if not for like 6th in GC, 5th in GC? So might as well keep Carlos Rodriguez close if that's what they can do with that team. I was also EF pacing, right, with Ben Healy, or for Ben Healy.
Yeah, because they
Who was
need
still
to
the
defend
current
his yellow.
GC. Yeah, that one maybe I'll say maybe I get it a bit less because I think the yellow was gone. Maybe they were also riding like because of top 10 GC in the end, but he really did crack pretty hard today. So I don't
As
know if
other
we can.
riders too. Because I think the big reason why so many riders cracked today or lost so much time because of the big heat. It was very, very hot, like 33 degrees on a climb, maybe even hotter before the climbs.
Yeah, I was in the big valley at the start, or like the flat part before the final climb, which is like over 100 kilometers, was like average 38-degree around that, based on the Strava uploads, which is very hot, 38-degree for such a long time. I definitely cooked some of the riders, um,
One
which
of
is
them
why I think
was
we
Remco
saw
Evenepoel.
so many surprises on the first climb already, Sulur, because the pace was not even high there. Like before they did maybe like six watt per kilogram pace before they slowed down, and overall the climb was like 5.8 watts per kilogram for 35 minutes or 33 minutes. In the peloton. So it was not really a tremendous pace that really characterized. So it must have been the heat, especially when you see how many big name riders already were struggling there. Of course, you mentioned that Remco dropped pretty early. I think when Kamprad was still pacing from Visma, because Visma was pacing on that climb from the bottom. Remco dropped. Who was the other riders that dropped? I mean, Jorgensen dropped a
Or at
bit
least he
later.
struggled. Yeah, he
He
struggled.
definitely dropped for a bit. They slowed down and he got back afterwards, but he was definitely dropped for a bit. Simon Yates was also dropped for a bit by their own team, so Visma took their own team out.
I mean,
Vokala was struggling, but he
yeah,
kind of stayed in the group.
from
Healy,
GC
of
group,
course, dropped.
Carlos Rodriguez dropped early.
He was in the breakaway, but he completely flopped. But like Ineos was pacing in the breakaway the entire time, and there was one attack, and he was just completely like he was nowhere to be found, and he was caught by the peloton pretty fast after the climb, so he lost very, very much time on a short amount of time. So yeah, I think he'd also probably correct him hard
Yes, like the stage
because he
overall
did
was
fine.
quite easy based on everything except the heat. So yeah, everyone, let's say, did underwhelming performances, including Pogačar on the final climb. Yeah.
I think he did pretty well. He's of course not at he was not at the level that we saw last year, but I think the general level might not be as high as we saw last year either. It's also
Yeah.
kind of what I saw already from the Dauphiné, or what I expected from the Dauphiné performance as well, because like Pogacar was pretty good at the Dauphiné, but I don't know if it was like close enough to the level he showed last year to elevate himself to that level in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, however much it was. And Jonas really didn't really impress me. Remco, of course, not either. at the Dauphiné. So yeah, I think the general level might be a bit lower than last year, although this stage was just weird with all the heat or the crazy heat. So it might not be fair to judge it just from this because yeah, other than Pogacar who did still a very good performance at the level of the Dauphiné in terms of the watts. I think everyone else kind of did pretty underwhelming watts.
Yeah, but again,
Yeah, I mean,
Visma made one of the mistakes. Okay, like they couldn't have prevented this happening, but they slowed down because of the Jorgensen, which also meant that Jonathan Narvaez was also fresher for the climb.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if the Cas pacing for that 10 minutes could have done anything to Narvaez. To be honest, I think Narvaez was just stronger than Cas in reality.
I mean, maybe
Um,
have to, at least it made the job for the UE way easier to set up, like similar to Dauphin. I think also Narvaez did the last pull there, and before Pogacar attacked on the Domancy and did 7.2 watts per kilo for 20 minutes, so he was already strong in Dauphin.
yeah, and Valens they called also Valens after the Sulur, and he kind of pulled the valley, controlled that pretty easily, kept the break on a decent leash, so that this stage win would definitely be in the hands of the GC guys there. And Remco also did manage to come back before the final climb, actually. He did pretty well on the descents in the valley, I guess. So he did come back. I think he was at the top of the solo, like a minute or over a minute, maybe behind of the GC guys. Um, but yeah, he did
Yes,
come back before the final climb, and he did perform decently well compared to what he did on the Slur, actually on the final climb. But yeah, of course, UAE kind of went straight into the bottom with a high pace. I think it was Valens right at the start. He pulled up pretty early for Narvaez, and Yates was still behind Narvaez, but he just dropped. And yeah, Narvaez just went with it, dropped everybody except Jonas and Pogacar with his ball, and then Pogacar just launched out of the wheel. I think it was like 2 minutes into the climb, so very early, and it was just stage over at that point.
yes, that also meant that watts per kilo would be quite high if they would be at a good level because there would
I
be
mean, it
no
was the
drafting.
perfect condition. It was the perfect condition because Pogacar could just pace himself for the whole climb. Didn't have to worry about anybody else. Anybody else pacing, he could just ride his pace for pretty much the entire climb. So yeah, it was the perfect condition in that sense.
Yes, he attacked again seated as always in this season, and I think he was 20 seconds up to the Reese record when it was half of the climb. But again, Reese attacked later, like way later on Hautacam.
Yeah, I mean, Reese attacked like I think he attacked like 60 minutes into the climb, so pretty much like half, a bit before half into the climb. So he pretty much gained throughout the segments where Reese in 1996 was still following his domestiques. I think I'm not sure if it was Telecom actually pacing back then, but it was definitely somebody still pacing from the domestiques. Um, Either it was Telecom or Banesto. I'm not quite sure anymore, but basically on that segment, Pogacar was gaining on him, but yeah, it was definitely slower on the power where Reese was solo attacking solo and he did not manage to break the record in the end. He was 30, yeah, exactly 30 seconds slower.
Yes. Also, I think Pogacar slowed down way in the last kilometers. In the last three, he seemed to struggle a lot due to heat.
Yeah, I mean, he probably expended all of his energy to get the gap, extend the gap, and probably was just was riding it in the end. Yeah, and at the end where he just pretty much done, but just keeping it at the decent pace to ride it into the finish over the entire climb. He wrote it in 35 minutes 11 seconds, which is 6.74 watts per kilogram etalon, which is equal to 661 ASLP. I think that's the exact same ASLP that he did in the Dauphiné as well.
Yeah, it should be because
And the
it's really
Valmenier,
similar.
or like one of the stages in the Dauphiné, he did like 661
Yes, on
ASLP
Cote
as
de
well.
Domancy, 7.2 watts per kilo for 20 minutes.
Okay. And yeah, it was probably that one. So yeah, probably with the heat a bit more difficult circumstances, but in terms of the watts, it's a similar level performance.
Yeah, actually,
And yeah,
this stage was actually similar to the Mansi stage in Dauphiné because it was also not that hard and not that easy. Some riders dropped before the last climb on the previous climb, and on the Dauphiné stage, Jonas was also, let's say, way closer to Florian Lipowitz than to Pogačar. Yeah, it was really similar. Also, Remco sucked on that stage. Like, holy shit. And Johannessen was
yeah,
good. Like, that stage
I
is
guess
really similar to this stage. Damn.
I guess the Dauphiné is a good predictor in the end. Yeah, we can talk also about what happened behind. I mean, Jonas was chasing solo behind. He didn't get caught by anybody anymore, but it did get quite close because it was 5 kilometers before the finish where Lipowitz attacked with Onley to get out first. He later on dropped Onley. They did attack from the group of four, which was also included Roglic and Johannessen at that point. Vokalan was already dropped from the group. Remco was pacing himself a bit behind, and Gal was with Remco, I think, at that point still, but later would get dropped as well. So yeah, that's kind of what happened. Leibowitz was closing in on Vingegaard even more and more, and in the end, it was Vingegaard with 2 minutes 10 behind, Leibowitz with 2 minutes 23, nearly caught Jonas in the end, and then Johannessen and only 3 minutes, and Vokalan and Evenepoel came in home as well with around 3 minutes 30 down, and yeah, Gal and Roglic around 4 minutes. It's kind of, I would say, the end of the series GC guys that we can consider at this stage, because the next guy is Christian Rodriguez with over 7 minutes down. Um, Jorgensen lost 10 minutes. Carlos Rodriguez lost 12 minutes.
Oh my god,
Uh,
Carlos Rodriguez was the best Ineos rider. What the fuck?
Enric Mas lost 16 minutes.
Arensman lost
He,
18 minutes. He was in a break. Like, what
Harrisman
the?
wasn't in GC anymore. Pili lost 13 and a half. So I think
Mm,
like after the first 9, we can kind of
Geraint
write
Thomas
off the rest of
lost
the GC
33
guys.
minutes. Never.
Come on, bro. He wasn't even trying.
At least Ineos will sign Vokalan next season, so at least they will have one good rider.
Yeah, and that leaves the GC picture with Pogacar, of course, in front now, in the yellow jersey ahead of Vingegaard of 3.5 minutes. Then Evenepoel still third, 4:45. Lipowitz closing in with 5 minutes 34. Vokalan also still up there, fifth in GC now, 5 minutes 40. Only not far behind him, and then you got Roglic at 7:30, Johannessen 7:44, and Gal at over 9 minutes already. So yeah, the gaps are big, but there's still a decent battle for third now on between, I would say, multiple riders, although Remco and Lipowitz are the favorites, and then the top five is pretty wide open at this point, I would say.
Yes, because Remco, okay, dropped today, but we have no idea what he will do on the next stage because, again, he said before this tour that he's 1 kilo lighter, so maybe also that might be the reason why he couldn't perform because, I mean, in the pictures he seems really, really skinny, yeah, with a very low body fat percentage.
I think Remco most struggled with the heat today. Like he was constantly pouring water over himself. He was never that good in the heat. From what like I never thought about him as a like top heat rider. I always
Oh yeah,
like I think
remember the
he's
Tour de Suisse 2022, I think, which was
yeah
after Tour
like
of Norway. Yeah, yeah, it
he
was
was
after
he was
after Norway.
he was never that good in extreme heat. I always thought of him as like for him the perfect temperatures like Flanders where the 10, 15 degrees, maybe 20. Like I always thought about him in that range. And maybe we'll see tomorrow because I checked the weather tomorrow in Ludenviel. We have forecast like 25 degrees Celsius, no crazy heat anymore. So yeah, in the time trial, I guess we'll see how much the weather impacted different riders today.
Yeah, because last week there was Junior Tour de France, and also the results there are, let's say, quite shocking, and also performances were extremely bad. Yeah, so the heat killed also all the juniors. So yeah, it's really, how to say, it's a really, how to, let's say, if you aren't from Spain, then it's quite hard to ride in heat, I think. Yeah. Or if you're not Tadej Pogačar. yeah, what do you think about Pogacar's performance today? I mean, like he wasn't that good as last year. Can he improve in this tour, or crash
I
yesterday
mean,
maybe cost him something?
yeah, the crash. We can also talk about that. I don't know how much it impacted. I don't think it impacted him too much. To be fair, I think Pogacar will have a better performance than this in this race. Certainly in terms of watts per kilogram. Of course, we don't know how exactly the heat will affect him 100%. I think he'll definitely have something better in terms of watts, even excluding a time trial, which should, in theory, have the best watts anyways. But yeah, I don't expect him to reach the level of last year, Plateau de Bell and Isola. But I think he'll do something better than he did today.
I mean, yeah,
Maybe stage
tomorrow is the time
stage
trial.
14. Yeah, on the time trial surely, and then maybe the stage afterwards as well. Super Banieres is I think stage 14.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Damn.
and we also have the Alps, of course, still left. Oh, and the Mont Ventoux as well. That's gonna be a one where surely he can do a big watt performance.
Yeah, because they also didn't do the biggest watts per kilo performances on the first mountain stages last year, or also in the previous edition. It usually comes later, so maybe the big watts per kilo performance will be on event 2.
It's true, although to be fair, I think last year that was like the first serious mountain stage was the Ade or like the biggest mountain stage, and I think that was more a pacing issue in terms of the watts compared to actual legs issue or like other problems. But yeah, I think he'll do something better than he did today, but not reach the last year's level. Would be my prediction.
Yes, they also will use, I think, most of the guys a road bike with TT handlebars. Yeah, that's what Jonas probably will be using in Pog. I think it makes the most sense. It doesn't add so
Yeah,
much
I
weight.
would say so. I mean, also, I think didn't we see someone training? Wasn't it? I think was it Jonas who trained with a TT bike but without a disc wheel? Because I think this Cervelo bike is like pretty light
Yes, maybe it
for
was
a
a
TT.
TT frame. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was the TT frame with a normal like back wheel.
yeah, because also I think some of the guys calculated and the time trial bike would save in the first 3 kilometers like 25 seconds, which is still a lot, but
That seems a lot. I think it's maybe a bit too high.
maybe too high. Maybe
I think it might be like compared to a normal road bike without extensions.
yes, because the CDA was
Yeah,
by 0.1 point lower. Yeah, in that calculation, I think. So yeah,
yeah, fair enough.
it also made the difference in the speed by 7 kilometers per hour, I think. So yeah. But I don't know, like what we will see today. No, not today, but tomorrow. Okay, Pogacar will win. That's obvious, probably, if nothing crazy happens.
Our prediction, what was our prediction was 8 or 9 stages. I think we're pretty.
I
It's
think
pretty.
we said that Pogacar will win a 6 or 5 mountain stages out of 6,
Yeah. We said five
and
mountain
and
stages. We
also
said
the 2 or 3 extra stages. So I think I said
we said
8, and
eight
you
in
said
total.
9. Yeah, because
Yeah, I think
our
we
thoughts
both
are
said eight at the start, and then I changed it to 9. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
It's kind of boring because also we said that the top 3 will be Remco, Jonas, Pogacar, and they are right now in the same exact spots. But Remco might crack, but might also not. Who knows?
we also, I think, we predicted like the time gaps before the mountains also pretty well
Also, the
between the
Tino will
GC
win
guys.
0 stages, which looks very, very likely to happen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's not that hard to predict. Is the thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't really be happy about it.
I mean, it's getting boring because the new generation riders who are like Lipowitz, Wakalan, Oscar Onley, Johannessen, Paul Seixas, I doubt they will reach Pogacar's level, uh,
Yeah, it
even
will
if
be
they
hard.
try.
It will be very hard.
And the problem with Pogacar is if his mentality is strong enough, he might win like 6 Tour de France wins in a row. Like similar to Lance, because also Dr. Ferrari said that Lance was the strongest in his last Tour de France win, but he was mentally finished. So it depends how strong Pogacar is mentally.
Yeah, and he's younger than Lance was at the time. I think Lance was like in his last tour, he was still like already like 35 or like mid 30s.
Yeah, let's check. He was really fucking old. Pogacar is 26, soon he'll be in September 27. Lance was
So he can win his
33, 30, 34 in his last Tour de France win.
yeah. So let's say Pogacar wins. If he were to win like 7 Tour de France, how old would he be if he wins all of them? Like
7, so it means he wins this year
30?
plus 3 next year. It's 29 and
Yeah,
9, 10
it's a bit of a
months.
difference.
So he's not
Yeah.
even 30, like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean the past tells us usually that GC riders don't really peak for that long, but you never know.
Because also the biggest difference with this era and the past is that in this era riders aren't doing like stupid stuff like starving themselves or
Yeah, that's
like
true.
injuring themselves and then coming back too early or like doing this stupid stuff that just kills the riders. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's also what you can see in other sports that maybe the peaks are longer these days.
LeBron James, like fucking god, imagine
LeBron
it.
James.
I imagine like if Pogacar is like LeBron and do this until 40, man.
Yeah, bro, I think no, nah, I think nobody's that crazy.
Okay, like if he's 40, how many Tour de France
But
wins
you
he
can
can
also see
win?
like tennis, like how old were the tennis guys? They were
Yeah,
also
like
like
before
near
Djokovic,
40.
Federer, and Nadal, they all were finished before 28,
Yeah,
30,
early.
like
Yeah,
very
yeah, yeah,
early.
early. These bastards are like
What the
like
fuck?
pushing
Djokovic is
40.
38? What the fuck?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's old as fuck. And he's washed now, but like he was still good like last year or like 2 years ago.
I mean, like Vash Spog is still kind of good because also
Yeah,
in
exactly.
endurance sports in the walking in Olympics in 50-kilometer distance, the best guys are close to 40 or over 40. So I mean, endurance usually doesn't drop with age, or you can at least sustain it. But yeah, the sprint and the anaerobic power
Yeah.
drops. So I mean, I don't know like how this will go on for how many years. Because also Jonas, he was slower than his Hautacam time 3 years ago, so he looks like maybe even slowing down. He's 28.
Jonas was like same time as Nibali in 2014.
Yeah, like what the fuck? I mean, like kitchen floors are waiting for him.
No, man, bro. Pack it in, man. The kitchen's
I mean,
waiting.
he's already signed a long-term contract with Visma until 2028, so he might just pack it in like Sepkus. Yeah, and Walton
Yeah.
Art.
About Van Aert, yeah.
He just signed a long extension and just forgot how to ride a bike. Same with Ilan Wilder. He was 3 times in top 10 in World Tour stage races
He was good
this
today.
year. Okay, today he was good finally. Yeah, he helped also Remco to not lose so much time on slower pace for him, but still, like these guys signed a long extension and just forgot how to ride a bike. But what else? Florian Lipowitz, the best German GC rider since Jan Ulrich, maybe.
Kloden probably in the middle.
Oh yeah, fuck, Florian also existed. Yeah,
Yeah, but probably is since then, yeah.
like he was also a biathlete not that long ago. Was still on a Conti team in 2022, so yeah, he also might improve a lot. His first good performance in World Tour race was only last year in Tour de Romandie, so yeah, he might be the next great GC rider probably.
Yeah, I mean his progression is looking pretty damn good from last year. So yeah, and now he has a decent shot at the Tour de France podium. It's definitely one to watch out for because, as you said, he joined the sport late. That's where you can assume he still has room to grow, where he still has room left for improvements. So yeah, definitely a threat for GCs in the coming years. Maybe a Giro Vuelta could be one of the favorites for those kind of races.
Yeah, because again there are again rumors that Remco might be going to Red Bull, but he might not be even the best GC rider there next year. if he goes there. Yeah, there's also Roglic. Like, what the fuck? How many minutes Roglic lost today? He was ninth.
4
Okay,
minutes.
fuck, man, he's washed.
And we saw it already in the first week. I think he's not at the best shape in this race. I don't think he fully recovered from the Giro disaster. And he just seems to be taking it easy here.
Yeah. Okay, but let's see what happens in these Tour funds. But again, like, this has been so predictable until this point. Maybe something happens in the mountains on harder stages, maybe not. Because yeah, cycling in the last years hasn't been that enjoyable. Let's say that. uh, yeah, okay, thanks for listening, and we will see how many watts they will push in the time trial tomorrow.
Yeah.